Well, the subject we're going to talk about, I'm not a fan of.
Ah,
I hate talking about this subject, but I think it's an important one. It's something called the right of first refusal.
oh, yes.
What is the right of first refusal, Rick?
It's usually a paragraph in a parenting plan where there's a statement that if I can't fulfill my responsibility of keeping the kids or watching the kids or having the kids during my parenting time, then I need to give the other parent the first right of refusal. I need to offer that time to the other parent before I give it over to a babysitter or a grandparent or someone else just to watch the kids.
And the philosophy behind that is that it's better for the kids to be with their biological or their adopted parent. Hey, this is Diane Dirks.
And I'm Rick Voiles.
We've been working with co-parents in conflict for more than 2 decades. We've taught classes, written books, counseled parents, empathized, and agonized a few times to help people make sense of their complicated families.
We were talking one day, and it occurred to us that helping the most difficult cases comes down to one simple concept. Is one parent willing to let go of the tug-of-war rope, or is it worth it to hold on and fight?
So we invite you to take this journey with us each episode as we tackle the questions, should you hold on or let it go?
Welcome to Co-Parent Dilemmas, where we give you practical solutions to those impossible co-parents. Hi, Diane.
Hello, Rick. How are you?
I'm good. Yes.
Good. Me too. Getting closer to the holidays.
Yes,
Do
indeed.
you have all your shopping done? Or
All
does
of my
Janet do all of it?
Oh no. I love scrolling through Amazon looking for deals for the grandkids, going, oh, there's a good one. Oh, there's a good one. Oh, I like playing with that. There's a good one.
Yeah, that's hard. My grandchildren have so much stuff.
Oh gosh, mine do
When I
too.
go to their playroom, it's like a disaster area. And I'm thinking, I'm going to add to this. So I'm struggling. I'm trying to find gifts that are meaningful. Then I'm also worried those meaningful gifts will end up in the bottom of a toy box somewhere.
Yeah, they won't play with them.
Because they're not that fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But as they get older, less toys and more, gadgets and things
Gadgets.
like that.
Yes.
Gadgets. Yes. Yeah. So I'm pretty much finished. I've taken a different approach this year in that I have more time since I'm semi-retired and I love to knit and crochet and make things like that.
Oh, cool.
So I've been crocheting a lot of gifts for people.
Wow.
Which has been fun for me. I don't know if they'll like them when they get them,
Mm.
Oh, yay, another hat from Diane. Great.
I'll wear this 3 days.
But I don't know. There's something. We went to Thanksgiving with my husband's family and I handed out crocheted gifts and I could just see people light up, not because the gift was so great, but it was like, you sat for hours and did this for me,
That's
so anyway,
right.
I've been enjoying doing some of that and it's a lot cheaper than spending a lot of money on gifts, which since we're in our holiday feels here lately, I want to encourage people that are struggling financially around the holidays, around gift giving, because I remember not having, excess disposable income to just lavish gifts, especially when your kids are little and they say, well, why is Santa broke? I don't understand.
The elves can't work.
The elves are on strike this year.
That's right. Poor Santa.
So I came up with some ideas around Christmas that worked for me, but you have to be somewhat creative. Like I remember going through my jewelry box and finding like a piece of jewelry that their dad had given me that I was never going to wear again and packaged it up and gave it to my daughter as a Christmas gift, or
that's clever.
had found something that was my ex's possession that he never took with him or whatever. Maybe it was a little flashlight or something. I don't know. And wrapped
Hmm.
it up and gave it to my son and said, this is, your dad's or something like that, where you can reuse gift things you already have for your kids.
Yeah.
Speaking of, more meaningful kinds of gifts, I think is helpful.
Yeah.
Or I remember there was one year um, I just made cookies and breads and I think I
Ooh.
canned spaghetti sauce or something. And that's what I gave out to my adult people. So I just
Yeah.
want to encourage people to not get all bogged down. And if I don't spend $1,000, people won't be happy.
Whoa.
There's a lot of ways to find gift giving or what am I trying to say? To repurpose things for gift giving so
Sure.
that it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. So, and there's nothing wrong with going to Goodwill or
No.
a thrift store and
Right.
finding something nice. You'd be surprised what you would find at a thrift store these days that
Actually, yes.
you could repurpose. And I have actually found some really pretty like vases or kitchenware or whatever that you could find some special little piece and wrap it up and give it to a friend or a parent or something like that. So I just want to encourage people to not make it about money,
Right.
but make it about thought. I saw this and I thought of you, I think is what are the most appreciated gifts,
Yes.
you know. And then maybe, you save up whatever money to have that one big purchase your child asks Santa for.
Yeah.
Lots of ideas. So, the good news story this week is about giving.
Oh, that's appropriate.
Yeah. And, all the talk in the news about inflation and the price of eggs. I don't know why everybody's so focused on eggs, but the price of eggs are really high. I found this and it said the title was a survey shows that 40% of Americans are doing more good deeds in giving in the final months of 2024.
Wow.
4 in 10 Americans are actively doing more good deeds before the end of 2024, says a new survey of 2,000 Americans. So that's a pretty big sample to survey. It revealed that 43% are using the end of the year to boost the amount of giving, increasing their good deeds, volunteering more, or donating. 59% of Gen Z and millennial respondents agreed that they are doing more good as we approach 2025 to make up for the rest of the year. And of the Gen X and baby boomers surveyed, 47% said they did as much good as they wanted to within their community this year. So I
Wow.
just like this story. It goes on to talk about other statistics, but respondents shared some of the best things they did in 2024. And someone said, sometimes it's the small stuff, like checking in with a coworker who seems down or helping someone figure out a solution. You might not realize the impact right away, but later it clicks that maybe that small act brightened their day.
Yes.
So, the good news for today is we are more giving and more compassionate than we believe we are. Because it's easy to just look around and say everybody's
Feels
so
cynical.
selfish and so
Right.
focused on themselves and they're a bunch of liars and cheaters. And, it's really
Uh-huh.
easy if we pay attention to certain social media and news outlets to think that our world is just so they say going to hell in a handbasket, whatever that means.
Yeah.
What is a handbasket anyway?
A basket that you carry in your hand. I don't know.
But it's all going to hell in there. I don't know. It was just good to hear that of 2,000 people, almost half of them said, yeah, I feel like I did more good this year than I normally do.
Nice.
So I just like to hear that. So our encouragement for the day is do something good for somebody else every day, even if
Mhm.
it's just smiling at the person at the checkout counter at the grocery store. Or I always try to comment. I was in a Subway the other day and I said, you're a good sandwich maker. Because I was watching them and I didn't lie. I was
All
watching
right.
them, like they were very meticulous in how they put it together and making sure that everything was even. And I said, you were very good. And he looked up at me and kind of looked at me like, huh? And then he
Uh-huh.
smiled. He got a big smile on his face. Like, there it is. Okay.
Cute.
So
Cute.
just say something to somebody to give them hope, some hope in this crazy world. So I could sit and talk about all this stuff all day. Do we have to talk about co-parenting?
Well, that's our good deed is to help a
Is it?
few
Is it?
co-parents.
Okay. Well, the subject we're going to talk about, I'm not a fan of.
Ah.
I hate talking about this subject, but I think it's an important one. It's something called the right of first refusal.
Oh, yes.
What is the right of first refusal, Rick?
It's usually a paragraph in a parenting plan where there's a statement that if I can't fulfill my responsibility of keeping the kids or watching the kids or having the kids during my parenting time, then I need to give the other parent the first right of refusal. I need to offer that time to the other parent before I give it over to a babysitter or a grandparent or someone else just to watch the kids.
And the philosophy behind that is that it's better for the kids to be with their biological or their adopted parent, the caregiver who has legal rights over them. It's better for them to be with that person than to be with a step parent, a grandparent, a neighbor, a babysitter, whatever, right? That's the
And
philosophy behind it.
and the other side of the coin, that biological parent is going to want to have the kids as much as possible, and
Right.
so here's one more moment that's possible, so yes, I
Yeah.
want them.
And, oftentimes people say, well, wouldn't the kids rather be with their parent than be with someone else? Well, that depends.
Depends.
I can go to grandma's and eat as much candy as I want. I might
Oh,
rather be with grandma than to be with
absolutely.
mom or dad. So that kind of falls apart when you make it about the kids, right?
Yeah,
The kids maybe do want to be with that parent, but then again, the babysitter might be more fun,
definitely.
So I think we need to take what the kids want and need out of that. Right of first refusal is really about the parent, like you said, saying, I want to have as much time with my children as I can.
Yeah,
And so if you're not going to be with them for a certain period of time, I would appreciate me being the default parent,
correct.
not you just getting a sitter or you getting your mom to watch them one more time. And I don't like your mom and I'd rather the kids be with me because she's putting all kind of crazy ideas in their head. There's all kinds of reasons people think I'm the better choice when there's going to be a period of time. So let's talk about the pros and cons.
Okay.
What are the pros of this concept?
Well, it does give the other parent more time. And certainly if they're missing their children, yeah, if I had the chance to have my children and they're over there with a 15-year-old babysitter, I would much rather have them.
Yeah.
So that would be a pro that I get to satisfy that desire um, to have more time with my kids. That'd be one
Yeah.
pro.
Especially if you're the non-custodial parent. So
Yes.
maybe you only have your kids, you know, 5 or 6 days every couple of weeks. And you're thinking, yeah, if I get an opportunity to have them, for another few days,
Yeah.
that's a bonus for me. That's time that I get to spend with my children. So it can be a very positive thing that tends to work best with more cooperative parents. Would you
Yeah.
say?
Yes.
Because let's talk about the cons. And I think this really has to do with how it is worded in the parenting plan, which we'll get into a little bit more later. But the cons are that it keeps you having to communicate and talk to each other and negotiate.
Oh, yes.
And for high conflict parents, that can be a problem.
Yep.
So the reason I'm bringing this up, I don't have one specific email. I'm bringing this up because, and we have a social media presence. We're on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Reddit and all that. And so I'm monitoring what people are bringing up all the time because I want to make sure what we're talking about is relevant. And maybe it's because of the holidays, but lately I'm seeing a lot of right of
Sure.
first refusal comments.
Sure.
She spent overnight on this work trip and didn't call me and tell me
Yep.
she was going to do that and just took the kids to her mother's. And, I think she should have called me and I would have been glad to keep the kids overnight. But I'm thinking the reason she didn't call you is because she doesn't want to talk to you. Because when she does, you guys get into a fight.
Right. Or she feels judged because you're criticizing her for being away from the kids more.
Yeah, right, right. Or, he went on a cruise with his girlfriend and didn't even tell me he was doing that. And it was his week. And he just had a daycare person come into the house and
Right.
take care of the kids. And why
Yep.
wouldn't he tell me that? And like you said, he doesn't want me to know his personal business. He doesn't want me to
Yes.
know he's on a cruise with his girlfriend. So all of those things come into play, which can be very negative if you don't have a good co-parent relationship.
Yep.
Hey, listeners, you've heard me talk about the daily devotional for frustrated co parents that I'll be releasing January 1st. Some of you have responded with interest in a subscription, so thank you. Starting this week, you can officially subscribe online. Since the holidays are near, consider giving yourself the gift of daily faith encouragement, as well as a few tips and skills from my archives thrown in there. You might also know someone on your gift list who could benefit. If so, check out the links in the show notes. And happy holidays. So the question, Rick, is it important, the right of first refusal, or is it just a luxury? And if you're going to put it in the parenting plan, what should that look like?
I think so. If you've got something like a 50-50, then right of first refusal is ridiculous, would be my stand.
Listen to you. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
That's very strong, Rick.
Yes.
You rarely get so strong about something. You said ridiculous. Okay?
Exactly. Yes. If
Why is it ridiculous when you have 50?
Well, you've got 50-50, and what the implication is that's my time to be responsible for the children. And if I have someplace I'm going or I can't be with them every minute of the day, I'm responsible for their care, and I get a right to demonstrate my responsibility of care for the kids. And you've got 50, I've got 50. So what's the big deal? If I've got a parent who only has, say, because of travel, they only have one weekend a month or something like that, then okay, a right of first refusal, I think, makes a little more sense. That, well, if I can't have them and you don't get them very much because of your travel, then yes, I will put in a paragraph in there that says you can have them on those times, or at least some of those times, where I can't exercise my responsibility for caring for them necessarily.
Mm-hmm. So I feel about this the same way I feel about makeup time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, keep going.
That if I have to put it in a court order, we probably can't do it.
I think you're right. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do it. Yes.
Because the cooperative parents will do this without needing it in an order.
Yeah.
Once we put it in the order, I can almost guarantee we're going to fight about what the order says.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Hence, a lot of things in orders are that way. But when I think of things I don't like, it's right of first refusal, and I don't like makeup time. Mm-hmm. Like, for some reason, if I have to go out of town for work and I miss this weekend, you're supposed to help me make it up, which means we've got to talk about it, which I'm always going to want the weekend that you're supposed to have, crazy. People get crazy. They weaponize those clauses, and they weaponize those. One of the ways I've seen first right of first refusal get weaponized is in the detail. Like the order will say, if he can't be with neither one of you can be with the kids for 4 hours or more.
Right.
Well, how do you prove the number of hours? So I've seen parents go shopping for 3 hours and 52 minutes. And then they come back and go, well, it wasn't 4 hours. So how do you,
my gosh.
even when you say overnight, I
Mm-hmm.
had one couple I worked with, and their right of first refusal said if either parent was not going to be with the kids overnight, then they had to turn them over. And I had a guy actually say, well, to me, that means I have to be sleeping. And I was actually working all night long.
Uh-huh.
But he went to his job, but he was working all night long. And overnight meant
Him
not
sleeping.
awake.
Right.
I don't know. And I thought, oh, this dude will like push it to the
Oh,
limit to get,
man.
So how those paragraphs get interpreted can really
Oh,
make
yeah.
make things worse.
Yep.
So I agree with you. If you have, let's say you have a week on, week off, just do your week.
Yeah.
You are, in essence, equally responsible. I have complete responsibility for my children in 1 week, which means hiring a daycare person or what a
Mm-hmm.
sitter or whatever, if I have that week, or vice versa, if you can't get along well.
Yep.
I feel the same way about that summertime vacation.
Mm-hmm.
When people have a week on, week off, and then they want to throw a 2 week weird thing in there in summer, like, no, 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 no.
I
Just
know.
go on vacation on your week and be
Yeah.
done with it.
Right. You
Because
knew it ahead of time. Just plan.
when you say you get to pick 2 weeks, and what that really means is somebody gets 3 weeks, right?
Uh-huh.
ah, and then it just throws everything off schedule, and it creates opportunities for conflict.
Yes.
And I think you and I agree on this, Rick, that parenting plans should be about reducing opportunities for conflict,
Yes.
managing conflict, and reducing opportunities for conflict. But too often we
Exactly.
see that parenting plans actually create
Oh,
opportunities. And that's why I think the right of first refusal creates an opportunity for conflict where otherwise there wouldn't be one.
yes.
Your time, your responsibility, you do whatever,
Yep.
because on the other end of this, I've had parents, not a lot, but some occasionally say, he's got every other weekend, but he rarely takes it because he ends up dropping the kids off early at my
Right.
house. And then I'm thinking, well, that means you get more time with your kids. And they're like, but I don't want more time with my kids.
I need a
I
break.
have them all the time. He won't, or
Yep.
she won't take the time that's allotted. But I think where this really comes up is people wanting more time.
Yeah.
So it came up in one social media post where a mom said dad had, a out of town work trip or something and it was an extended period of time. And the kids were going to end up staying with the stepmom. And she thought, I want this time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the biological dad was not going to be there, the stepmom wanted the time with the kids. And I remember reading that thinking, well, wait a minute, like, why couldn't mom have the time?
Uh-huh.
But as you read it further on, there's a bad blood between mom and stepmom.
Ah, yes.
So I do think in certain circumstances, if a parent is going to be away for an extended period of time, let's say a parent's got this new job and they're going to send him to Europe for a month for training,
Right.
then it would make sense that you would be the default parent, right?
Sure.
But if it creates a whole lot of conflict, is it worth it?
Well, yeah, and I think one of the points we're making is that we want to eliminate conflict so that the children's lives will be better mentally and emotionally. And conflict between biological parent and a step parent is still conflict that affects the
Yes.
children. So
Sure.
stop it.
Sure. Sure. So if you were going to put together, let's say we've got some attorneys listening or parents who are really stuck on this, but I need the right of first refusal. What would be the perfect way to word it in the parenting
Oh,
plan?
I have like half page boilerplate that I have been working on this for years.
Kind of like our phone
Yes.
communication thing that ends up being a
Yes.
page and a half to account for all possible
Right. Exactly.
nuances. Yeah.
Nuances. Yeah. But then you're still, again, like we've said before, the longer the paragraph, the more risk of interpretation by that
Mm-hmm. So
one.
what is your bullet points for this kind of paragraph? What do you want to avoid and what do you want to include in a parenting plan paragraph about this?
Well, the one thing I look for right away when I'm evaluating parenting plans is there a length of time, like you said, it's got to be anytime over 4 hours or overnight. So either I'm going to try to find a way to eliminate that in there, or I'm going to want to make sure that that is specifically defined, and what that means.
Mm-hmm.
So that's first thing I look for. Is there a time limit? I've seen them as short as an hour, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just a nightmare to try
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Because if
accomplish.
I want to go to the grocery store and leave my toddler with the neighbor while I go to the grocery, do I really have to call the other parent and give him
Right.
or her first right of refusal? I don't think so. So, yeah, that creates, and then as soon as it's found out that you did it, then suddenly you're in contempt, which
Right.
technically you could be.
Yeah.
But I could also see a judge like rolling his or her eyes and going, seriously, this is the
Very
biggest
much.
conflict you have.
Yes.
What about what I've seen come up is in these cases is also the notice. How much notice do you have to
Oh,
give
yes.
someone?
24 hours in advance or 12 hours. That's another nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Because what parents will do is they'll wait to the last minute,
Yes.
go, oh, by the way, John,
Yep.
I'm leaving for a week-long business trip in the morning. Do you want the kids or not? And
Yep.
maybe he's already gotten plans set
Can't
up for
shift.
that and
Yep.
can't do it. And then he gets all upset because she should have told me this last week. So, I've seen very complicated paragraphs that say, if the one parent knows in advance, then has to tell the parent as soon as he or she knows. Well, again, how do you
How
prove
do you
any of
measure?
that?
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you prove that you didn't tell me when you knew?
Yep.
I can get in your brain and I know when you knew because it's real easy to say, my boss just called me in his office 5 minutes ago and said, we're sending you to New York or something,
Yep.
that may or may not be true, but it's plausible.
Yeah. I
It's
mean, what if you're a
plausible.
first responder or something, right? And you're sent off and
Oh,
you
I didn't
can't
think
watch your
about
kids.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Or you're a detective or something and they call you in the middle of the night and say, get on this murder case. And then
Right. Yeah.
you got to wait. I got to call my ex and tell him or
Give
her.
them the right to. Yes.
Oh, we don't like this, do we?
It is complicated.
So it's kind of where I settle on this is better without it than with it.
Yeah.
And if you don't put it in the plan, you can always offer it.
Correct.
Kind of like we talked about last week about the splitting of the holidays and all that.
Yes.
If you don't have it in there, no big deal, but you can always offer it.
Yes.
You can always negotiate it, but your plan B in that case is actually the parenting plan.
Yeah.
Plan A would be, can we do something different to accommodate these common sense life circumstances?
Yes.
And if you say no, we'll just do what the plan says, right?
Right.
And what else is there, right? So I kind of want to say to all my social media people who are buzzing about this issue and whether or not, the kids should be with a biological parent when the other parent is not available for whatever reason. If you can't negotiate well to begin with, you're probably not going to negotiate that well.
Yes.
Now, I have seen situations where I thought these parents are the worst high conflict parents I've ever seen. But what's interesting? If a parent gets ill, ends up in a hospital, they almost always say, I want the kids to be with the other parent.
Yeah.
Which they wouldn't have to, right?
Right.
So sometimes it depends on the circumstances and it depends on why you think the other parent is not with the kids.
Yeah.
If I think you're not going to be with them for selfish reasons, then I'm going to demand that time be my time.
Yep.
But if you're in the hospital and grandma's watching the kids, I'm kind of okay with that.
Sure. Yep.
Or I'll be glad to help even though you and I don't get along, I may step in and want to help you because I might actually have some empathy for your situation.
Yep.
So I kind of think it gets into conflict when the other parent doesn't agree with why the person is leaving,
Yeah.
why they're out of town, or, oh, he's working again and he worked so much in our marriage. I hated
Yes.
that. And all he does is work. He doesn't deserve these kids. I deserve, if you're already angry about why they're not with the kids,
Yep.
or the cruise with the girlfriend or boyfriend, or, oh, she's off on that stupid yoga retreat. And I hate yoga. So I deserve the kids. So I think it has more to do with how you feel about the time they're not taking.
Yeah.
With the children. She goes out every Friday night and drinks and parties, and they should be with me.
Mm-hmm.
But if she's in the hospital, I don't know, anybody can kind of watch the kids.
Yeah, please.
I hate to be that crass, but in my experience, that's what this is really motivated by, whether I agree with why you're not with the kids.
Yep.
Whether I have any empathy for you. So have we resolved anything, Rick?
I think we've made some people aware of beware of this in your parenting plan.
And if we were to put it in hold on and let go terms, this is one that I would put way in the let go of column.
Yes.
Unless there are some extenuating circumstances that really would make this in the children's best interest. And maybe that has to do with a compromised parent on the other side for whatever reason.
Right.
And you don't think they can make good decisions about alternative childcare.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're leaving them with your drunken ex-mother-in-law and you think she's a bad influence. But even then, there's a lot you have to do to prove that, to prevent that from happening, right?
Yep.
So this is real complicated. I don't want to oversimplify it, but at the same time, I want to encourage people to I wouldn't die on that hill of right of first refusal.
No.
If you already are high conflict, because it's likely to create more conflict. And, negotiate it if you can. And if you can't, revert to whatever the plan says. But putting it in the plan almost creates opportunity for conflict for about 25% of the people.
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope that will calm down some of the social media buzz about this. If you're listening, again, there are many other things to worry about than this issue. So.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Good stuff. And we'll be back with you next week.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. The information contained in this podcast is generic. It must not be misconstrued as constituting legal or psychological advice. Decisions relevant to any specific individual, family system, or case require the direct evaluation of skilled, child-centered professionals.